Dean, could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Carol.
Mayor Sheets,
Present.
Greg Miller is absent and may be joining the meeting later. Megan Sheets,
Okay, on the agenda next, we have the minutes from the December 28th regular meeting and the December 30th special meeting.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, we approve both of those minutes on December 28th and 30th.
I'll second that motion.
Mayor Sheets,
Aye.
Megan Sheets,
Aye. Okay, next we have the claims that Carol's presented to us this evening.
Yes, and I'll also make a motion, we approve the claims as submitted this evening.
I'll second that motion.
roll call Mayor Sheets,
Aye.
Megan Sheets,
Okay, we're gonna kind of switch the agenda up a little bit. Next, we're going to do the swearing in of my department heads. We're gonna start out with Fire Chief Matt Stidham. Do you have somebody that you would like to pick?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You know, we can have whoever, I think what, we can have whoever you want up here. You want anybody else? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, is this good for pictures? Okay, ready?
Ready.
I, Matthew Stidham,
I, Matthew Stidham,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and honestly
and honestly
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of my office as fire chief
of my office of fire chief
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Yes, you can. You can take one. Carol.
Hamley,
Oh, now?
and that way we can get out of there.
Okay. We're all gonna
We are taking up so much room.
I will tell everyone that I feel very blessed with the department heads that I have. I'm so grateful for doing a great job. And I do appreciate Dan, and I think all the citizens of Fraser do appreciate all the hard work they put in.
Christmas. Very careful.
You can go up there every time. Okay, everybody smile. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. Cheese. Okay.
Okay, now I'll get out and you can just get all the family, you guys stay up there. You don't get me.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
You are growing up. I can see you.
Hey.
Yeah.
She's waiting for
Ready?
Ready?
So I decided to go ahead and swear all my department heads in this year. Some of them have already been sworn in at a different time. But I thought we're gonna start 2022 out right. We're all gonna be sworn in, we're all gonna be raring to go until we're citizens. So Jason, you're up next.
Sorry.
That's my brother.
Hey, nice to meet you.
All right, sir. Hi. Are you on the right side or wrong side?
You're first.
Am I good?
Okay, you ready for this? Okay. I, Jason Forsythe,
I, Jason Forsythe,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and honestly
and honestly
discharge the duties
discharge
of my office
of my office
as street superintendent
as street superintendent
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God. Congratulations. Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
Yo, man. Get pictures, okay? Oh.
You're looking, and I'll get out. Okay. No, you're
Oh.
It's fine, whenever you're fine. Okay, you ready for your picture? Say cheese.
Okay, now you guys get yours.
One more. 1, 2, 3, cheese.
Okay, Dawn. Next on stop.
N is different than F.
I guess.
Oh.
Carol. She's somebody's cousin.
Yeah,
Okay, you ready?
I am.
I, Don Stott,
I, Don Stott,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution
and the
of the
Constitution
State of Indiana,
of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and honestly
and honestly
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of my office
of my office
as Director of Planning and Housing
as Director of Planning and Housing Initiative
according to law,
according to law,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you, Don. Thank you. You guys are so.
No pictures.
No, sorry.
Sean, did you want a picture?
I want a picture of that first.
Yeah, you do. Okay, ready?
ready.
Okay, I, Mark Training,
I, Mark Rainey,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution
and the
of the
Constitution
State of Indiana,
of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and honestly discharge
and honestly discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my
as
office
Park Superintendent
as Park Superintendent
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, Bud.
Thank you.
I'll get copies. I'll take these back to you in your mailbox after we make copies.
Ready, Scott?
Yes, please.
I, Scott Shoemaker,
I, Scott Shoemaker,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Indiana,
of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and honestly
and honestly
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of my office
of my office
as Chief of Police
as Chief of Police
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Hey, I'm going. One more.
Okay, you got them all? You sure you want to get this?
You know, I signed my name on your spot.
You do, thank you. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I do want to thank each and every one of my department heads. They're what makes the city run. This is what makes things happen in this city, and I appreciate them. They put a lot of time and dedication into their jobs, and thank you for being part of this team. Okay, next we have public comments. Okay, today with us is Michael Clausen. Did you have something that you want to bring before the Board of Works tonight?
Yes.
Okay, if you want to step up here.
No. That was sort of nice and inspirational. I'm glad I was here tonight. Now we get to the complaining. I'm just going to read this and try to read it really fast because I know you guys are all busy today. In 2017, I moved back to Frankfurt and I bought a small home at 602 North Jackson Street. I've made interior improvements to the house, but would like to invest more money and effort, but I have a problem. The house is about 10 feet away from 604 North Jackson Street. About 2018, the tenant was evicted from 604 North Jackson Street. The tenant had previously informed me that she had infestation problems in the house. Before she left, I asked if she wanted a local exterminator who had checked my house to see if he could help her. He informed me later that the cockroach and bedbug problem was the worst he'd ever seen. In addition, several windows were broken out, plants were growing inside the house, the back door was broken, the roof had a hole in it, and the property was overgrown. 3 or 4 years ago, I began a dialogue with the building inspection department, first with Don Stock's predecessor, then with Don. I also called Mr. Warren and Ms. Spearnow at the health department. They inspected and posted keep out signs that said the house was unfit for human habitation. They said this was due to the strong presence of ammonia, which was caused by many cats urinating into the carpeting, not to mention the horrible cockroach and bedbug infestation. At some point, the owner of the property, a Mr. Franklin Hornsby, died. At Mr. Stock's request, someone cleaned up and boarded up the windows with white painted plywood so it looked less offensive from the street. Also at this time, a city work crew of 3 to 4 men spent 2 whole days just clearing brush from the yard and throwing out stacks and stacks of trash bags and skeletal remains of dead rodents or cats or something. My communication with the health department ended, unfortunately, in 2020 with the start of the pandemic and how busy they got. I've remained in touch with Mr. Stock. I live about 10 feet from an abandoned derelict property that has not been maintained in any manner for 3 years and is a blight on the neighborhood. Its close proximity to my home severely decreases any value my home may have and has caused me undue stress for more than 3 years. Any attempt by Mr. Stock to engage with the ownership has been met with very little information from the Ponton Law Firm, which represents whomever now owns the property. I looked up the municipal code about unsafe structures, and it said something about when a structure is found to be unsafe or unfit for human occupancy, such structures shall be condemned. And I also believe the city should have some sort of lien on the property because of the 2-day cleanup that the city workers did a few years ago. At this point, I feel like it's futile to try and improve my property because of the proximity to this toxic ruin. I believe that after 3 unattended, unheated years of cooking in summers and freezing in winters, the combination of bed bugs and cockroaches feeding in a stew of ammonia-soaked rugs has made this property completely unfit for human habitation. I would like at the least to see this property fumigated, cleaned, repaired, and made safe for human occupancy by the current owner. In lieu of that, I would like to see the structure condemned and demolished. I wasn't sure where else to go. I've been worried about this property right next to me for several years, but I thought I would try this, and that's all.
Thank you so much, Les.
Mike, let me ask you a couple of questions. Who is the current owner? Is there an estate that's been opened, do you know?
Yeah, it's very confusing. Apparently there's more than one owner, and I have never gotten an answer to who that one owner might be. I've heard that it's a group of people, one of whom lives out of state, and they won't sell, they won't.
But the house is unoccupied and has been for some time.
At least 3 years.
Don, does Beacon show, what does Beacon show on taxes, do you know?
It shows that the property is still owned by Frank Hornby.
Yeah. But are taxes current? Do you have any information on that?
I don't have information on that. I can find out.
Typically, these will go up for tax sale after, you know.
Three missed cycles.
But we'll check into that, and we can do something about it.
The challenge that, like Michael knows about, is that there are multiple people who have had wills given to them by Mr. Hornby. One is even the church out here by Walmart. And so whenever anything comes to court, somebody fights it down or takes it down. In January, there is a meeting of everybody in the courts over this to try to resolve the issue, but I don't know when that is. I just know it's in January sometime.
Okay, well, I'll get with you, Don, on that. That's about.
Okay.
Mike, I remember when you started and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I'm that old.
That was a while ago. Yeah, at least 2-3 years ago. Well, thanks for remembering that, and I appreciate any help I can get. I do want to thank Don, and I think he's been as frustrated as I've been in trying to do something with this house, and that's all. If we can get something done, great.
Well, Mike, I do appreciate you coming and bringing that to our attention, and we will look into that. Let's work with Don and see what we can come up with and keep in touch with you.
That'd be great. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Don.
Okay, department reports, police department. Hi.
Good evening. First thing I want to do, Jacob, stand up back here. It's our new intern in Frankfort Police Department for the spring semester. Jacob is at Purdue University and will be with us for the next 3 months. So we're glad to have him. You may see him around. That's what he's doing.
Okay.
Second thing,
Glad
on-
to have you.
yeah.
Yep.
The only other thing we really had on the agenda for the department was the physical tactics training, defensive training mat that we need at the police department. As I had stated in the email, we train at the high school on Sunday evenings. It doesn't really work with everybody's schedule, so we'd like to not have to worry about scheduling and have this mat ordered. It'll be on a roll up in our conference room, and also will hopefully move with us to our new building as well. And Sergeant Lance Pickrell put this together as our lead visual tactics instructor. I think I brought the wrong quote. There was a quote, original quote, and I'd asked him to work with him, and the new quote was the $2,145 for the mat.
Seems like a good plan of action, and we're not for the limit on being able to do this yourself without having board works approval. Just makes good common sense. I'd like to make the motion that we approve the expenditure of $2,145 for the tactics training mat.
Second that motion.
Roll call, Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Okay, and Scott, thank you for bringing that to us. I think, like you said, it's gonna be very effective for the department, much easier than trying to schedule at another location, and being the new police station is gonna be coming soon.
Yeah, it's like the virtual reality that we've set up. It's fully functioning. The instructors are training on it, and because it's there, it's always out. It's constantly being utilized. So the same thing with the map. As far as the department report, I don't have one. We're going to have our annual report for you by the next meeting. We'll also want to announce our officer of the year and a couple other awards for the officers for the year for bravery and meritorious conduct. So we'd like to reserve some time at the next board meeting to do that.
That'd be great.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Okay. Chief Stidham, fire department.
Well, good evening. Thanks for having my family here today.
You're welcome.
Really, the only thing I have today is just talking about, I know that's written up the agreement for the fire truck being donated to Bardwell, Kentucky. I have been in constant communication with Mayor King there about the truck itself. We are going to be getting a service tomorrow to make sure that it is ready for its voyage down there. So with your guys' approval, with what Les sent out today on the fire department's donation form, we'd like to get this down there to them sometime this week, possibly. In lieu of that, we actually may have to take a trailer of stuff because we have many volunteer fire departments who have donated air packs, extrication equipment, gear, helmets, gloves, hoods that we're also going to take down there with us when we take the fire trucks. Again, with your approval, we'll be able to get that to them.
That's great. This department, if I understood you correctly, lost absolutely everything, didn't they? Their building, their equipment.
Yes, Bardwell, the town of Bardwell has their buildings still. However, every other entity around them and with them has lost everything. There's multiple departments that do not have fire trucks. They don't have gear. Their stations are completely down to the foundation. So they are very excited to get this piece of equipment, as well as a lot of the extra stuff that we're going to get down. We have a place in Carroll County, a department who's donating some air packs. And again, a lot of our county volunteers here locally are actually going to donate things as well. So we're going to try and take that all down together.
That's great. I'm glad to see that we're able to help them out with the equipment that we're no longer using anyway, so it should be put to good use. Did you have documents on that for us? Is that right?
I had emailed those out, and I printed them off right before I came and didn't pick it up here.
I do have a copy when you guys would like to have
There should be, yeah, there's a resolution, and then there's an agreement. There's an exhibit A that's attached, which is a list of the equipment besides the truck.
And then there's an exhibit B, which is the agreement, and release from liability.
Don't know what that one is.
That's exhibit B, that's exhibit A,
Okay.
so. I do not, 2101 or 2201.
Yes,
There you
that's
go.
right. Do you want me to
Yes.
go ahead? I mean, are you
Yes,
okay?
that's
Okay.
fine.
So then you'll coordinate that with them and get the agreement signed, man.
Yes, my intent is we actually, Deputy Chief Hewitts has got it set up to maybe take it down Wednesday if it's approved with you guys. If that happens, I will probably go along with them and make sure that everything is documented and everything is signed by them.
And don't forget the certificate of title.
Yes.
As I said, do we have the title? I hope.
I'm sure we do.
I don't know what page was that.
I guess from a
91.
91.
I'm sure.
Have one somewhere.
Yeah. We'll track it down, we'll track it down. Okay, so Les, do we just need to pass the resolution
Yes.
along with the exhibits? Would that be enough?
Yeah, just the resolution by a number and title, and that should do it.
Okay,
The exhibits are incorporated by reference.
okay. This is, resolution number 22-01, a resolution authorizing donation of fire truck to Bardwell Fire Department, Bardwell, Kentucky. And I will make a motion to, approve this resolution.
And I'll second.
Okay, roll call please, Carol.
Mayor Sheets,
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
You need to sign that. didn't you? Okay, thank you, and thank you for all the time.
Thank you
for
for
everything.
this as well.
Not a
Do you know
problem.
if the other, I know there were some others in the region that were gonna do the same thing. Have you heard any more from
Montgomery
them?
County, they're getting a lot of their areas, volunteer services out there to donate some stuff as well. I do know that Linden Fire Department, I believe, is sending an old truck down to that area as well. So
Okay,
sounds like they're going to be moving about the same time we are starting to get stuff moved down there. So
okay,
we're looking forward to it.
yes,
Get them some needed equipment.
yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, Jason Forsythe, Street Department.
Mayor. I think all I have tonight is just an approval for some graphics for, actually it's gonna end up being about 5 vehicles. We only have one over there right now. But I think I showed you and Megan and Carol pictures of them, Chief Shoemaker. But Move Over Outfitters is gonna do the work. It's $211 per truck. It could fluctuate a couple bucks here and there for, like the F-250 might be a little cheaper because it's not gonna be as large a graphic, but the rest of the other 3 trucks that they'd be taking over the same size as the one that's over there now. It's just an F-450 1-ton. So I would like to go ahead and get those. If you want me to bring those back when we do the others, or is it okay to get those basically 5 approved?
I'm fine with
No more than that 211, if that's all right.
Yeah, I'm fine with doing that. I'm excited
Yeah.
that you came up with this. I think it's really great. New graphics, that's great. Yes, new trucks.
I'll offer the motion that we approve the graphics for the 5 vehicles that Jason is planning to do. And I have seen the design. Thanks for sharing that with us. It's going to be look sharp. Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Okay, move forward with the graphics for this 5 vehicles.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else you want me to bring up today in regards to anything else? I know we have some things in council, but I didn't know.
Yeah, I think
Bring up or
I
not.
think we're good because we all were there when we accepted the bid for the paving for next year. So a little over $912,000 for next year. And you're working on the CCMG.
I am.
Yes, I'm excited about that. That has to be in by January 28th. Yes. Yes, so that's exciting. We're gonna go and we're gonna do, if we get that along with what we already have for this year, it's gonna be over $1.5 million for 2022. So that's really exciting. Yes.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Okay, Don Stock Building Services.
Before we get into the December permits, I want to talk a little bit more about the house at 604 North Jackson Street. Michael had called me today and asked if it was okay to come up, and I always feel like it's good that you hear from the citizens about things that are going on. It is a project that we've been working on and off. It's not been something on at all times. And as anything else, when the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and so when it gets brought before me, then we try to move forward on it. But this is a project that is pretty difficult to move forward with. There are, as Frank was heading down the line of age, he was having a little bit of medical issues, and I think all the family members each got it in their own will. And then you throw in the Christian Life Church, they got a will. Everybody gets everything. And so whenever Mr. Pont would take it to try to move forward with it, somebody would deny it, and then everybody's attorney would get engaged. And they're actually having a mediation in January, and Gordon has asked me to give him a call back in a week or so, and I'll do that. And then whatever I get from that, Les, I'll let you know.
George should be good to work with.
Yeah, he is. And so it's just that frustrating product where we run across this a lot, where property is owned by somebody who's deceased, and maybe there is or there isn't. Or the other issue that we have is it's property is owned by somebody who don't even live in the state of Indiana, and you try to make contact with them. It's very difficult. So we do the best that we can, and sometimes we're victorious, and sometimes we're not. And in this case, we're just kind of out there in limbo waiting for the judges to make decisions on who gets what. So we have actually had people look at this property to see about buying it, or and we have people that are interested in it, but you can't do anything with it until somebody becomes the owner. So that's where we are. December permits, we had 38, kind of a slow month in December. 38 electrical, a lot of roofs that got repaired. Still, we're doing residential minor remodeling, and a total of only about $1,747 worth of revenue collected for the month of December. It was better than 2019, but not as good as 2020. That's about the only report that I have. I do want you to know that our office is trying to work out details with Shelley Wakefield. Shelley Wakefield is a senior plan reviewer and helped create the Rule 4, Rule 5 issues. Not in as in it has to do with construction design releases. She actually put that all together. And as we start to deal with downtown buildings and our requests for design releases, there's a lot of individuals that don't quite understand what it's all about. So Shelley actually teaches a class. We're going to see if we can't get her up, pay for her to come up and put a class on, not only for our office that we've been to the class, but it's always good to go through because it's so intense. But it'll also help the fire marshal, and then we're going to try to invite some of the engine or the building people in so that they can get an understanding for what it is that we're asking. So we're going to try to put that together before springtime gets up. We'll keep you abreast of where we are with that, but we think it's something that's important, and we're willing to spend a little money to bring her up to do that.
It's a great idea. I appreciate that.
That's all I have, man.
One other thing, I think at the last meeting, we talked about the dumpster
Yes.
by Copper Penny. I think you wanted it in the alley behind. So where are we on that?
Clinton Taylor has purchased a Copper Penny. He's actually getting ready, and we gave him the permit to start demoing inside. He can do that until he gets a CDR. He can't reconstruct until he gets a CDR. And he wants to place the dumpster in the alley. He's made contact with everybody who's associated with the alley on the backside of the Copper Penny, which is between the Regis Bank or the county now owned property and Ellis's and that side of Washington Street. He asked about putting it in the alley, and everybody there had no challenges with it. Matter of fact, probably the biggest challenge would have been Arnie's, and they're okay to come in from the west end of the alley to make their deliveries. And We don't know when he's gonna bring that trailer or that dumpster in, but I guess, we still need to kind of have a yes or a no from the Board of Works, to put that in. Jason, I haven't gotten in contact with you about it. Do you have a challenge with that being in the alley?
I don't, I think it's probably, I would just call Wampler, because I know he goes back there for a couple of nights on the east end for headers and probably Ellis Growers. I don't know who all he takes over there, but I know he does run a truck down through there, but I'm not sure what day, so I'll just I'm sure it's probably not gonna be a big deal, but I'll probably just touch base with him and make sure he's aware, especially when you go to put it there.
Okay.
If there's no reservations for one, but I put a motion in that we approve the placement during renovation. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Contingent upon one first.
Yes, I want to see. And if they have a problem, then you can come back and talk to us about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Ready for roll call?
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have Parks Department for planning.
Good evening. First off, I'm gonna mention a few things and then I'm gonna have Marty come up and go over the events. So first I wanted to let everyone know we took in a final total this year for donations of $46,465.87.
That's unbelievable.
So that was an increase of a little over $3,100 from last year. So, and then last year's increase was a $7,000 increase. So that's over $10,000 in the last 2 years, just an increase of donations. So one thing I wanted to let people know is we had a huge, as most people know, we had a huge storm that came through right in the middle of where our Christmas displays were all set up. And we had a lot of them damaged. We had not only those displays damaged, but we had a lot of electrical issues that were like poles were, small poles, small electrical boxes were torn out. Because we already had so much donation money, we were able to contact the electricians right away, and they were able to get that stuff repaired. We weren't obviously able to get the Christmas displays prepared, but we were able to get everything turned back on, all the power back on, even the same day. So that was huge, and that was directly a result of all the donations that we had. We were able to just tell them, hey, we have it, come and start working right now. So that's a perfect example of why donations are so important. Yes.
And we appreciate all those donations. It was not only our local community, but I know a lot of people come in from out of town. So beautiful display this year. And
yeah, so we were really proud of that.
Unfortunately, we had the damage done during the storm, but we'll work on getting those displays ready for next year.
Okay. That is the plan. The second thing I did bring you guys, or I sent you all an email on Friday evening because there were a couple of vehicles that we were hoping to purchase. And so I will talk about those trucks right now. First off, in that fund, the city council has given us $60,000 to purchase new vehicles this year. So the first two that we were looking at, the first truck would be actually to replace the truck that went to the auction last year. It was a white Ford that broke down. It was going to be over $3,000 to repair the truck. The truck was a 1994, so we chose not to repair it. So we've been just down a vehicle. So this truck is the Silverado 1500. It's a 2012, and I sent you guys all the info. The truck has only had one owner, so it has 91,000 miles on it. It has a meticulous service record, and it is at Dan Patrick Ford in Lebanon. So that was one of the trucks that I thought would be perfect for us. We already have Chevy Silverado 1500 there, so our mechanic is used to working on it. It's going to fit right in with the fleet. The second truck, though, and the reason I'm presenting them together is because the second truck is also from Dan Patrick. I reached out to 3 different dealerships here in town, and I asked the same options of 3 dealerships in Lebanon and then 1 in Lafayette. And so for about a week, they were just sending me quotes on trucks. The 2 most competitive happened to be at the same place, which was Dan Patrick Ford in Lebanon. So along with that $17,000 truck, There is, same thing, it's a Silverado, a 1500, although it is an extended cab. This would be replacing the zoo truck. The zoo truck was one of the trucks that I brought pictures of to the city council meeting that just really broke down, and for example, the bumper is messed up. We just definitely need to replace the truck. At the same time, we're using it to haul our trailer. We're putting animal feed in it. I didn't think this vehicle needed to be a brand new truck. I needed to be something serviceable that was greatly updated and is going to do everything we need. And so we were able to find another Silverado at the same lot, and that one is $13,000. It has the things I always look for is the service record, and you can look through in the Carfax, which I've given you guys. This guy had it in for service on the dot all the time. Not only that, but he wrote in his manual. It was in here for oil changes. It was in here for air pressure check. He was very meticulous in taking care of it. Has 3 owners, but the one owner had it for 6 years. So really, it's only 3 years of 2 owners and then one guy that had it for the extended life of the truck. So what I'm asking, along with you guys have your other quotes, that we accept. What I want to do is purchase both those trucks from Dan Patrick Ford, but then try to get a better deal since we are purchasing 2 vehicles from them. So if we were to accept their quotes, then we're at $31,000, and then they would still take the taxes off of that. So we haven't got that far. I didn't move any farther until I spoke with the board.
Where's Jason? Didn't we buy a used truck last year?
We did from.
Did we do it as a special purchase?
We did.
That's what I thought. That's how we usually do these. Do you have written quotes from these dealers?
Yes.
So how many do you have for each truck?
I have those 2 that I would select and 3 additionals. So I have 6 total quotes.
Okay,
So I basically have 3 quotes for each truck.
okay. And you can turn those into Carol?
Yes, I have them all right now.
Okay, and the ones you are proposing are the lowest in this
Correct.
case?
Yes.
I think we're okay there for those amounts. He's got the 3, yeah, it's under 50,000.
It is under 50,000.
What I think I also heard Bart mention is these were initial quotes, and he's willing to also go back and see if he can negotiate for lesser.
Sure.
And they made that clear to me as well.
Yeah, I think we just need to document in the minutes that we have 3 quotes for each truck. And the board is accepting the lowest of each and asking to further negotiate.
Will we be okay without the special purchase?
I think so.
Okay, I'm willing to go for that, are you, Megan?
Absolutely. Yes, I'll make the motion that, and noting that there were a total of 3 quotes for each truck, and that we are willing to approve Bart's recommendations of purchase of 2, and they are both the lower estimates. And his desire to go back and see if there's any further negotiation on price reduction.
And I'll second that motion. Ready for roll call?
Yes. Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Okay, Bart, go ahead and move forward on the purchases. Let us know how you do on the negotiations. Okay,
Now I'll let Marty come up and talk to you about our events.
okay, thank you. Hello.
Well, I have 3 different events. The first one is at the Neighborhood Center. It's an art-sponsored tax clinic. It's not on the application, but I asked Carrie Kiphart. There are no income or age requirements because there are people of a certain age and older. They will be using it from the 25th through the 27th for registration, and then every Wednesday and Thursday, February 2nd through April 14th, they will do the tax preparation. Okay. And at each session, they anticipate about 25.
And this is something we've done in the past.
And it's a long-standing program, yes. I'll make the motion, we approve the special event for the ARP tax aid services at Neighborhood Center.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Okay, the second event I have is a benefit car show. Randy West does these every summer. He will be putting 5 on altogether. They benefit local charities. The first one's on May 28th, and it's benefiting veterans, helping veterans. The second is on June 18th, and it's benefiting Helping Hands, which is a program through the fire department. The third is benefiting Coach Kids, and it's on July 2nd. The fourth is on August 6th, and it's benefiting the Clinton County Cancer Association. And the fifth is on August 27th, and it's benefiting Shop with a Cop. Every year he uses the same shelter, which is shelter number 1, and all of this is at TK Park. Do you have any questions?
He's been there, I think, several years now doing this, so. And I love that it's gonna benefit the community and all the different organizations. It's great.
I'll also move that we approve this benefit car show application on the dates noted.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Okay, the last event here for is the JC's fireworks at the Fire and Ice Festival, but it's also for the ice sculpting at Veterans Park. He later added, Joel Tatum later added the ticket booth and the stage for karaoke, okay? The location of the fireworks are north of the playground, which is east of the park. And let's see, that event is on January 29th.
Oh, did you want to add anything? Tell us exciting things going on, or?
We're just having the same, pretty much the same event as last year where we had the fireworks at the end. We'll have fire spinners during the day. That takes place at Veterans Park as well. And then we'll have the ice sculpting. Our ice sculptures are coming in a little slower this year, so I don't know how many we'll have at the moment, but hopefully we'll get up to where we normally are. And then Coach Kids would like to serve hot chocolate again, which usually they did that in the gazebo at Veterans Park, but since the walls aren't there, they suggested doing it in the ticket booth like Main Street did for the Santa Express. And then Coach Kids was also talking about having, they have a DJ that's agreed to sponsor part of the time. So they talked about having karaoke with different fire and ice themed music. So that's why we requested the stage at a later time.
Okay. So it's always been a big event.
Yeah.
Something I think everybody really enjoys. It's something we need right there at that time of the year. It's very important. The city's getting ready to send in, if we haven't already, our application for our ice sculpture.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. Like I said, I think it's something that's so important during the winter months when there's not a lot going on. So, and thank you to the JCs for sponsoring this. That's a big undertaking.
It is.
Like nobody's been there to see it. They need to go. That's pretty interesting to watch them do that. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve this great event, the Fire and Ice Festival as presented.
Okay, and I'll second that.
Roll call, Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye. Okay. If you need anything, Joel, during all that, let us know.
Will do.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, let's go.
I had prepared, Mayor, a memorandum of executive session for the executive session that was held December 28th by the Frankfurt Redevelopment Authority and the Board of Public Works and Safety regarding the aquatic center and the police station BOT.
Oh, yeah.
I have one here.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
It's the memorandum.
Yeah, that just needs to be signed by the, prepare it for your signature, and then Joe needs to sign it.
Oh, okay. We need to, or, okay, okay. And Joe Palmer, yeah.
Well, you are signing for the Board of Work, so you can approve it by motion, sure.
For that memorandum of the executive session.
Make a motion, we approve the memorandum regarding the executive session that was held December 30th for the Board of Works special meeting.
I'll second that. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Thank you. Adam Collins, who's helping us with the DOT process, had prepared a draft of a DOT agreement or PPA agreement, which I emailed out, I think, to most people, along with an assignment and assumption agreement with Novation for the KJG architect's contract, and one also for HWC engineering. The mayor has actually already been authorized by the council's resolution to sign all of these BOT related documents, but I thought it'd be good to still get the Board of Works approval for these assignments and later for the BOT agreement as well. But we'd like to get these things going, so Envoy can get together with the architects and work on that. The only blank that needs to be filled in is up in the first paragraph. I'm not sure. We usually set up, I think, new LLCs for each of these projects. And so they have several entities, and we don't know which one it'll be yet. I just heard from Adam today, and he's checking on it. But it would just be a motion by the board to approve both of these assignments and authorize the mayor to go ahead and execute them.
It would be between Envoy and HWC and Envoy and
KJG.
KJG.
I'll make the motion that we allow the mayor to execute both the documents, both entitled assignment and assumption agreement with Novation, one regarding KJG and one regarding HWC.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Thank you. We've been working on the COVID-19 vaccination testing, and in this case, face covering policy that OSHA ETS directive required that any employer with at least 100 employees adopt either a policy requiring mandatory vaccination or a policy that require either vaccination or testing and face covering in place of that. And so they had provided templates for doing that. And this that you have before you shows an adopted date of today, which is the day these are supposed to be implemented, except for the testing, which is February 9th. And it looks like OSHA will not be enforcing fines until then either, but that's not really clear. In any event, the whole matters before the U.S. Supreme Court now. The stay of going forward with this was granted by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and then they decided to consolidate all of these suits against OSHA for doing this. They ended the Sixth Circuit, and a panel of two Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals judges overruled that and vacated the stay, and that is what's before the Supreme Court now. And they heard oral argument, I think, the end of last week. I heard on the radio this morning that they've announced, if I heard it correctly, again, which it's somewhat unusual, they're extending by a day what their ruling is going to be, which indicated to this commentator that the stay is probably going to be granted, which may be later this week, we'll see. But anyway, we went ahead and did this, and it is the alternative policy for testing and face covering. And I've circulated this, I think, it's probably gone to all the department has now. And the Board of Works members. And it would require that anyone who does not produce some evidence of vaccination against COVID-19 will be required to wear a face mask until a later directive comes out or until the Supreme Court grants the stay. We had to comply with the dates as best we could. Obviously, today is January 10th, so we had to allow a little leeway, and we used 2 weeks from today, January 24th, to get most of this done. And then February 19th, February 9th is another date in there, which is a CD. Is it CDC or CBS? CDC date for the testing. So if you have any changes to it, let us know. If the board does not feel comfortable going forward with this at this time, we also have a stopgap resolution that I prepared that at least indicates that the board, on behalf of the city, has elected to go forward with implementing at some point the alternative policy of vaccination for testing and face covering versus mandatory vaccination. So that's there if this is not, or a similar policy is not set out today if you want to do that.
So once we would pass this today, that would mean that you have to wear face covering if you're unvaccinated in the workplace, along with if you're on another.
So the policy would be in place. Enforcement of it is a different issue.
Yeah.
And if the Supreme Court does not grant the stay and this thing goes through, then we'll probably come back and add more details to each of these components. But we addressed it, I think, as best we could for now. Also, this is also being presented in the same form to the USB Utility Service Board tonight for its approval.
So Les, if we would go ahead and pass this and then they award the stay, would we have to come back and then do away with this if we decide to?
You actually could leave it in place, or you could amend it, or do away with it.
Because right now, I mean, I don't know how Megan feels, but I feel like it's something that we'll be pretty much forced to do right now by OSHA. And if that, for some reason, that stay is put in place, then I'm not sure that I would be in favor of keeping the same policy in place. I mean, right now, I think we're kind of.
It's going to be difficult to enforce for a while, at least some parts of it. So, but you do what you can. And OSHA has, since this matter went before the federal courts, indicated that if an employer can show that they're proceeding in good faith, trying to get something done along these lines, then that they're going to turn their cheek to the fine business, I guess.
Just text me. I don't know which they did. You want to know which we were going to do past the policy?
I don't know. What are you going to do?
What are we going to do, Megan?
I'm in favor of passing the policy as it was drafted. That changes a couple of things currently, like the days for returning to work from 7 to 10 to 5 and so forth. From the very beginning in the whole COVID process, it's been a moving target. It's been one amendment after another just to try and keep up with everything. And so we know regardless of which way we go this evening, we're going to further be amending what we decide this evening. Given that, I'll place a motion that we accept the approve tonight the working document subject to changes and amendments pending the Supreme Court's decision.
And I might say that if we don't pass this, then we could be in violation and there could be some pretty hefty fines, right, Les? I mean,
There could be.
yeah, that's what OSHA's saying. So they've kind of got us here that where we have to make this decision on, at least right now, the mask mandate. This is not the vaccine mandate yet. You don't, but you know, just for the mask right now.
For those unvaccinated.
Yeah, unvaccinated.
So Mayor, we need to look at that, at the mask mandate, part of this more than anything right now.
Yeah.
And follow that as of tonight.
And if this passes,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Cheryl would send out some more detail on this to the department heads to give you a little more clarity to share with your employees first thing in the morning.
You know, they've kind of put us in the circumstances where we have to do something at this point. I mean, we all were hoping for a stay, but didn't happen yet, so hopefully by the next time we meet in a couple of weeks, or if we need to meet sooner than that, we can always set a special meeting. But, I think it's something that we're gonna have to do, right? Yeah. So I will second that motion.
We ready for roll call? Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye. Okay, so I think I sent this on to everyone. I don't know if there's a place to sign on this anywhere.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so I think everybody has this version of it. All the department heads, I think I sent it on, or let's send it to you.
It's been adopted by your motion having passed, and Carol should just make it a part of the minutes as an attachment.
And we're staying up to date on this. We're doing as much as we can. We kind of lag behind, hoping maybe last Friday something would be done. It was not done. So, and over the weekend they talked about it again, but I think until we see exactly what direction it's going, it's what we have to do. So I know the employees may be unhappy at some point, but it's basically what we've gone back to what we were before when COVID first hit us. You know, back to if you're not vaccinated, the mask mandates. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us or HR. And we've discussed this in great detail with Les, Alicia Albertson, and also Jeremy York, which is our HR director. And this is the direction that's been recommended for us.
Then while you're texting the result to Todd, I can report that the settlement participation form for the city to participate in what's called the distributor settlement on the opioid class action suit has been submitted. So that's on file, and we'll see what happens. The city may, in a year or two, receive some money or may not get anything. The only other thing, Don has asked me to take a look at a previous agreement we had between the city and the Clinton County Soil and Water Conservation District. So Don and I are working on that.
Okay.
And that's just a matter of collecting a fee, is it not, Don, and passing it on to them for reviewing some of that work.
Right, I mean, the contract says that we'll pay the fee that Soil and Water gives us to take care of city projects only. And two projects that would be, for example, would be the police department. They have been working on the MS4 issues for the police department and their review. And they'll do the same with the parks. Now, the Parks Department had one that had passed earlier, but and speaking with Bart, they may be needing more ground to put this pool in. If they do, then they'll have to redo that MS4 process, and that'll be reviewed by Soil and Water. The reason is because the city cannot review its own projects. It has to be done by an outside source. Westlers takes care of our reviews, but since they're hired by us, they cannot do it either. So that's what brings Soil and Water in on the program. Now, I told her that as far as city activity, that we were okay with the contract, that's been settled. But I could speak in behalf of the utilities because I know that they, in my conversation with Todd, they had hired Westlers, but I don't know if they understand that Westlers won't be able to review their own projects. The other thing that comes into questioning is the collection of money by the stormwater funds should be the funds that pay for the reviews of the city projects. And I've not spoken with Todd about that, but I mean, that's what that fund is for. And it's also for educational purposes. So if there's classes or individuals to go to, you should be able to take money out of that. I know that when Mr. Beck was overseeing that process, he always did all that for us in that manner. And speaking with Todd, I don't know if that's going to be the same as it's been in the past, but it's something that needs to be discussed.
Thank you, Don. That's all I had here.
Kimberly, did you have anything for us tonight?
I can't.
You can.
I can't.
Just to kind of bring you up on the community development side of things and outreach, we are sending a check out for the ice sculptures for the Fire and Ice Festival. So the city of Frankfurt will have an ice sculpture. And then we are working on doing some open forums. We'll be talking about this at the planning session with the department heads, the board of works, and Mayor Sheets to be able to go out to the public and kind of hear what the public has questions or concerns, or from us to the public. Yep. So, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Trying to get this year started out right. Does anybody else have anything?
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay, I'll second that. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
We'll be moving here in a couple weeks, Scott.